Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are we all doing on this Wednesday morning? This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Good Morning Show and watching Prime Minister's Questions with myself, Reganelite, here on Wednesday, the 14th of January, year 2026 at 11 a.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite. And we're on twitch.tv/Reganelite1 for reference there. Good to see familiar faces. Hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you to those. I just want to start by saying thank you to those who came out of their way to watch the Tuesday afternoon live stream. I've already rescheduled them for 4 o'clocks on Tuesday instead of 3 o'clocks. I think that makes sense. Yeah. So we'll stick to 4 o'clock and see how that goes for the next couple of weeks there. And that's actually much better because it gives me a nice 4-hour gap to get other things done in between. I think that will definitely work out a lot better there for us. For those who are new to this show, for those who are new, we normally go roughly an hour long for the Good Morning Show. But this is a special one here. So not only are we doing the Good Morning Show, which is roughly about an hour. So what we do normally is we look at today's daily quota, which I will share in a moment. We look at the weather, what's going to be happening in the next couple of days. We'll have a look at the news. Normally it's UK news, but today we're going to be looking at world news. We're going to be looking from a different outlets from what's happening outside the UK press, as we were looking and giving our reaction to some of that today. And so we do that for about an hour. And then at 12 o'clock here, we'll stop about a couple of minutes before 12 o'clock. We will switch over today to watch Prime Minister's Questions. And I'll share my thoughts about what comes up during that as well. Could be interesting to see what the Prime Minister says, what Kemi Badenoch says as well. Well, actually, the big question is will Nigel Farage appear in Prime Minister's Questions? That's the real question. I think is going to be the question there for it. I'd like to remind people as well. I have a live stream tonight called Reganelite's Watch Along, where we watch and react to certain clips online. So there's going to be plenty to talk about. They'll be talking about Iran, talk about Trump. There'll be stuff in the UK to talk about. And I get pretty much all these clips are from Twitter, Twitter X. That we watch there. It's one of my favorite live streams of the week because there's a lot we can digest the clips together. So I do like the watch along live stream. So do join me tonight at 8 o'clock for that, and also tomorrow at 8 o'clock myself, Dave McGuinness, Daily Blase, and Power to the People's Ground Price. We come joining us together for a roundtable live stream at 8 o'clock tomorrow. If you can join us for that, please do. It'll be greatly appreciated. There'll be plenty to discuss, not just what's happening in the UK. We'll touch on what's happening in Scotland from Dave McGuinness' perspective, and also touch on some world news and whatnot there. So if you can join us for that, it'd be greatly appreciated. Just a quick update as well. Sorry, I need to just get this out for you guys. I know people want to know what's happening with regards to the monetization issue. So I reached out to Google AdSense on Twitter. They haven't responded yet, which is very frustrating. But to kind of add to my problems, my bank account had to be blocked. Yeah, basically, my bank informed me that someone was using my payment last night. So I had to call them up and they had to essentially block it. And now I don't, I mean, I do have other accounts, but yeah, I can't use my main account anymore, which is very infuriating. So just to kind of add on top of the birthday week, still currently demonetized, and now someone trying to access my bank account. I have a very good bank. They're very, very good. They responded very quick. They respond very quickly to it. So they are very, very good. Cross fingers, I get it before the weekend. My new bank card. Just for reference, when I take payments, what I used to do from YouTube and what I do now from Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee, when anybody financially supports me and all that stuff on the wrestling page, it doesn't actually go into that main account. I always send it to a separate account. Just to keep things separate there. So yeah, so I had that last night as well, just to kind of it's bad enough, when you've got money sitting in Google's account that you can't touch, but then you have that as well. So looks like you're being targeted. Well, I'll tell you what it was, right? So I literally got a text message, and it basically said, from my bank, basically saying that £8.51 had been taken out of your account from Betfred. So immediately that was a red flag. So apparently when I spoke to the lady on the phone, she said they tried to use it 4 times. But she said that basically that I won't lose any money over it. They'll refund it and they'll reverse it back and all that kind of stuff. So I won't lose any money out of it, guys. Yeah, it does happen. It's rare. It's rare that it happens, but it does make you wonder of where you add your card to as well. But it's blocked now, so just got to give it a couple of days, and then they'll send me a new one, and then I'll have to make sure everything's all updated on all things that I use it for there as well. But yeah, so yeah, talk about adding to my woes, guys. Adding to my woes as we come ever more closer to my birthday. Going to be 1 year older. Yeah, I'll be 38 this Sunday. This Sunday I'll be 38, guys. Old man. Apparently still don't have grey hair, so I'm not sure how that's happened, guys, but there you go. Right, enough about my problems. Let's get on with the show, because that's what you guys are here for. Here is today's daily quota here it is from Benjamin Spock. Don't know if that's related to Spock from Star Trek, but we can just assume it is, just for reference there. But that is today's daily quota there from Benjamin Spock, and it says, trust yourself. You know more than you think you do. Trust yourself. You know more than you think you do. That is today's daily quota there. So hopefully you will trust yourself more than you think you do. Sometimes you need to be told, reminded of yourself that there. You need to be reminded there. I wish you could get a contactless card. Left one in the shop and someone spent £40. Damn. Yeah, it's like I'm so careful with my card. I'm so careful with my card. It's especially now that contactless is going to be limited as well. It's very scary indeed. You know, it's very scary indeed. You got to be careful out there. Before I go into the weather report, let me just see who is in the chat, because I haven't said hello to everyone there. Leapskin, good morning to you. Good morning, everyone, and how are you all doing? I'm feeling pretty meh, as per usual. The weather kind of doesn't help as well when it's cold and miserable. That doesn't help the weather there, but hopefully you have a better day, Leapskin. Person, good morning to you. Good morning, Mel, one of our fellow duckies. There's our fellow ducky there. Yeah, when I get more money in, I'll probably buy a ducky plush just to have with the gang behind me, you know. Unquiet Badger, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well there. Stephen Banker, one of our moderators, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Blah, blah, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well as well. Billy Kershaw, good morning, fellow Badger. Hope you are doing well. Good to see you there in the chat. Martin, good morning to you. Rosemary as well, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Ellie, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. Let's just see anybody else. Chat. I've had Betfred shenanigans myself since Leechskin. Oh wow, yeah. So it's not just me. I wonder how that's happened, because I've never had an account with them, never associated any way, shape or form with them. The only betting firm that I did was a long time ago was with Paddy Power, but you know I don't have that account anymore. That's it. You can limit your contactless payments with your banking app. Yes. Yeah. Someone needs to remind me to do that. I need to remind myself to do that. That's really important. Dark shouts impersonator. I've never used my physical card or cash, says Mel. Oh, so what's your payment then? Is it duck food? Is it bread? I'm joking. Anyways, let's have a look at the weather, guys, and see what our big beautiful planet is saying today. So here it is for today at 6 o'clock, just for reference, our big blue beautiful planet there. Plenty of snowstorms, plenty of rainstorms all around in different parts of the globe. Zoom in a little bit here, and we've got some different temperatures here. It's actually okay to go outside, guys. Yellowknife is -5 degrees. You can actually go outside and won't freeze to death. We can go to Yellowknife, guys. It won't be too bad now. Anchorage -10, Vancouver 10, San Francisco 12. Remember, it was as cold as -31. Now it's -5, guys. That's not too bad. Ottawa 4, New York 10, Miami a nice toasty 25. That's making everyone jealous. Mexico City 16 there. South America's temperatures staying roughly around about the same, with their fair share of rainstorms as usual, between 30, 27 and 19 respectively in parts. Very little showers in parts of on the continent of Africa there, down in the mid and south of the continent. There are various of temperatures from 14 to 21 to 27, as far as hot as Lagos at 30 there. Colombo there at 25. Moving over to the other side of the planet, Auckland there in New Zealand, a decent 21 degrees there. Sydney 22, Perth 21, Darwin 28. Philippines a nice toasty 25, but plenty of showers that are kind of normal really for them for their country. Tokyo still getting their fair share of snowstorms there at 2 degrees, and Beijing very cold -3 there. New Delhi there in India 6 degrees. And you can see parts of Russia feeling -22 and -24 there. In the Middle East, Baghdad 9, Tehran 5, Kuwait City 16, Riyadh 17 there, Cairo 15. Port Sudan 20. Port Sudan at 23 there as well. What's our friends up in Iceland? How are they doing today? Don't look like they've got any snow. -1. That's not too bad for them. It's not too bad for them today. Murkmas -21. Oslo there, a very chilly 6, and we got this massive snowstorm coming all the way across there onto the Eastern Europe there as well. Let's have a look and see what's happening in Europe in terms of temperatures and storms there. We've got Madrid 9, Lisbon 13. No rain or snow there. Algiers 13, Tunis 14, Tripoli 16 on the North Africa continent there. Palermo 11, Rome 11 at night, Nice 12 there. So not too bad temperatures there in Italy. So that'll be all right for them. Bern there at 3 degrees, so chilly in the Swiss Alps. Zagreb at 5 degrees and much warmer than other parts of Eastern Europe there. Tarija 8, Athens 3, Istanbul 7 there. And yeah, it looks like the snowstorm has passed most of Turkey there, but there's still some cold parts of the country. Bucharest -4, Chistu at -7, Kiev a very cold -15. That's not good for them right now. Like I said, when it was coinciding with these temperatures is when Russia is hitting Ukraine very hard to try and cut their power supply to freeze them to death out there. Vienna 0, Prague 4, Berlin 2, Warsaw -1 there with a massive snowstorm, as we can see that's coming in. But you can see a bit further more east, you can see Minsk -17, -13, -9, Moscow -3, St. Petersburg -10 there. So very cold at that part of Europe during this time of season. Paris is a decent 10 degrees and Brussels 9 degrees there. As for today, guys, this is what we're expecting today at the moment. This is what you could be expecting. So most people watching this will probably be having dry. You're probably looking out the window, and it's probably not getting any. You're probably not getting any showers or anything, and it's nice and dry. But as you can see, guys, from this, then later on you should start experiencing some weather here. Ireland and Northern Ireland will already be experiencing it, but as you can go later on in today, guys, we are going to get some rain showers. Looks like it's going to be some around where I am, but this storm here is definitely going to hit parts of Scotland, as well as parts of England and Wales later on in the evening. Yeah, so late afternoon, evening is when this rainstorm is going to hit today, guys. Temperature's not too bad, really. 5, 4, 4. It's still going to be cold, but some parts are going to be okay. 6, 7, 7. London, Dublin, Belfast, respectively. But Cardiff, Manchester, Edinburgh, 4, 4, and 5 there from the looks of it. Looking overnight there, the temperatures, they are still going to be cold there. We got 6, 9, 5, 6 degrees. Edinburgh 4, Belfast 5, and London at 9 degrees there. Going overnight, though, there's still some rain and snowstorms in parts of Scotland there. Some scattered showers here and there in parts of England and Wales, but not too much. But most of Northern Ireland and the rest of and other parts of the UK are kind of dry. Now you can see those temperatures, they're not dipping too low in some places, but it's still going to be chilly in some parts. So Edinburgh, Belfast, Dublin, Manchester will all be cold. Cardiff and London not as cold, 6 and 8 degrees respectively overnight tonight. But moving into the next morning there, while there is still some of that snow and rain in parts of Scotland there, we've got this rainstorm coming in Thursday morning, coming in from the south, from the Channel crossing here, over from France into England from the south here. It looks like that's going to hit pretty much most of the southern coast as well as parts of London there, the rainstorm there. And it's actually going to build up from the looks of it there. So tomorrow I'm going to be getting plenty of showers tomorrow. So probably chances of me getting to the shops is going to be a challenge. But temperatures 4. Thursday lunchtime there we can see not too bad, but there could be worse, to be fair. And yeah, that rainstorm is really building up down in the south and Midlands of England. It's actually really consuming large parts, and even parts of Wales is going to be experiencing that as well. Again, most of the northern England and Scotland and northern parts of Wales and Northern Ireland, going to avoid that there. But those temperatures 3 and 4 degrees in those parts. But Manchester 5, Cardiff 5, London still not bad. 2 temperatures there at 9 degrees. And then Thursday evening, that rainstorm is still going to be there, apparently at 7 degrees. Manchester, Cardiff, and 4 as well. But yeah, you can see it looks like Thursday night is going to be very cold up in the north there, 1 and 2 degrees. So it's going to be very chilly at night there. So Thursday night probably really need to wrap up much warmer than you normally would there. Scrolling over there, we can see going into Friday early morning there. It looks like there's going to be a rainstorm coming in from the. Let me get my coming in from the east, which is normally that's about coming in from the east there. So it looks like we're going to be getting a rainstorm from the east. That's highly unusual. We normally get them from the west, but it looks like this rainstorm is going to come overnight from the east here, which is highly unusual. It's normally they always come from the west here, but not Thursday night into Friday morning there. And you can see those temperatures really cold: 1, 3, 4, 3 degrees, Cardiff 4, London 5 there. Into Friday morning, this rainstorm is still going to be parts of some parts of Scotland, southern Scotland, there, northern England, maybe parts of the Midlands there. This rainstorm is going to be coming in there, and it's going to be very, very cold Friday morning. So you're going to have rain, and it looks like you're going to have snow as well. Parts of Wales is also going to experience some snow, and parts of northern England and Scotland is going to get that snow there. But although it's going to be very cold Friday morning, temperatures are expected to pick up in some parts. Not too much in Scotland, but other parts of the UK: Belfast 6, Dublin 8, Manchester 6, Cardiff 8, and London 9. So temperatures will pick back up. But that snow will dissipate Friday evening there from the looks of it there. And temperatures still staying very, very cold in Scotland there, as well as other parts of the UK staying not too bad from Friday night into Saturday morning there. Just looking overhead there from that. Yeah, looks like there's little bits of showers, rain forecast for Saturday, but most of it looks like Saturday's going to be a very dry day from the looks of it. Yeah, it looks like Saturday's going to be a dry day. No real storms expected, but temperatures staying around about 8, 7. An increase in temperatures in Scotland there from 5 and 4 degrees roughly there. That overnight Saturday into Sunday again. Yeah, so it looks like the weekend we're going to get mostly dry? Yeah, so pretty much the weekend, guys, is going to be a dry weekend. Yeah, looks like the weekend, guys, even though it's going to be, temperature's not going to be too bad, could be a lot worse. Yeah, so this weekend is going to be a dry weekend, guys. No rain, no snow. Looks like it's just going to be cloudy. That's what we're going to be getting the weekend coming up, guys, from the looks of it there. So that's not too bad. That's not too bad. We like a weekend without any rain or snow, so we can kind of get round and whatnot. So that's pretty good indeed there. So there we go. I'll obviously keep up to date on this tomorrow as well. Excuse me. I wouldn't dare sleep with windows open. Yeah, it depends. Not everybody obviously wants to sleep with window opens. Everyone is different, isn't it? To be fair, no freezing, just the bears and wolves to worry about. Martin Freezer's a bit extreme. Fridge maybe. What's that about? Ellie, I have socks to put in the freezer. My feet are always too hot. Why are your feet always too hot? That's not odd. That's worrying indeed. Right, let's have a look at see what's happening in some of the news today. Like I said, we're going to be looking at world news today, and we got Prime Minister's questions later. So, Associated Press here got the headline that Iran signals fast trials and executions for protesters as death toll in crackdown goes over 2,500. Now, I said this on Global News, and I'll say this to you guys. Bear this in mind, obviously, that American media, Western media, would like nothing more to see a regime change. They would like it to see countries be more Western friendly, and they definitely want that for Iran. And that context is really, really important. Even if they are reliable sources, I tend to find the Associated Press pretty reliable. But it doesn't mean to say that they don't have a little bit of bias towards wanting certain things to happen here as well. Like, I want the Iranian people to be able to decide their own future and not be dictated by the West. That's my personal opinion. But let's have a read anyway, guys. So they've got here that the head of Iran's judicial has signaled today that there would be fast trials and executions ahead of those detained in nationwide protests, despite a warning from US President Donald Trump. The comments from Iran's judiciary chief comes as activists have warned hangings of those detained could come soon. Already, a bloody security force crackdown on the demonstrations has killed at least 2,571. That's a big number. Originally, Al Jazeera had reported, I think it was like 500 police or something that Iran had claimed. That's quite a huge number to state, to make a statement there. The US-based human rights activist news agency have reported that figure dwarfed the death toll from any other round of protest or unrest in Iran in decades, and recalled the chaos surrounded by the country's 1979 Islamic Revolution. So Donald Trump has repeatedly warned that the United States may take military action over the killing of peaceful protesters just months after it bombed Iran's nuclear site during a 12-day war launched by Israel against the Islamic Republic in June. Trump will be pushed very hard by people around him to take action. There will be people around him trying to say to him, Mr. President, we need to take action. We need to take action here. We need to take action here. He will have people around him in his ear saying to him to conduct strikes against Iran. He will not just it, but obviously people close to him will try to. Hopefully, there's one or two people that will say no, but I don't really want intervention from the United States. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, Iran held a mass funeral of 300 security forces members killed in the demonstrations. Tens of thousands of mourners attended, holding Iranian flags and photos of their leader. The caskets covered in Iranian flags stood stacked at least 3 high. Red and white roses and framed photographs of people who were killed covered them. People elsewhere remain fearful in the streets. Plainclothes security forces still mild around some neighbourhoods. Their anti-riot police and members of the paramilitary Revolutionary Guards, all volunteer Basti force, appeared to have been sent back to the barracks. Quote, "We are very frightened because of the sounds of gunfire and protests," one said mother of 2 children stopped for fruit and vegetables on Wednesday morning, whose boast on traditional autonomy for fear of reprisals. Yep. "We have heard many are killed and many are injured. Now peace has been restored, but schools are closed and I'm so scared to get my children to school again." He told the Associated Press he witnessed one demonstration in Tehran and was shocked by the use of firearms by authorities. People were out to express themselves in protest, but it quickly turned into a war zone. People do not have guns, only security forces have, so they're claiming that the security shot them down dead. He made the comments in a video shared by Iranian state television online. "If we have to do a job, we should do it now. If we want to do something, we have to do it quickly," he said. "If it becomes late 2 months, 3 months later, it doesn't have the same effect. If we want to do something, we have to do that fast." His comments stand as a direct challenge to Trump, who warned about Iran about executions in an interview with CBS News that aired on Tuesday. "We will take very strong action," Trump says. "If they do such a thing, we will take very strong action." We don't want to see that happening in Iran. See what's happening in Iran happen. And as you know, if they want to have protests, that's one thing. But when they start killing thousands of people, it's now. And now you're telling me about hanging. We'll see how it works out for them. It's not going to work out good. It's funny how he seems to, in his comments, he talks about, oh my God, what's happening to the Iranian people is so terrible, guys. It's so terrible. Except, you don't talk about what's happening to Americans at home, One Arab Gulf diplomat told AP that the major Middle East government had been discouraged in the Trump administration from launching a war now with Iran, fearing unprecedented consequences for a region that could explode into a full-blown war. The diplomat spoke on conditional autonomy because he wasn't authorized to speak to journalists. I actually think there'll be a lot of Arab nations as well basically speaking to Donald Trump and saying to him, don't do this as well. You will have Israel trying to goat Trump into doing it. You have people around his cabinet trying to goat him as well. But I think there'll be a lot of world leaders speaking to him and basically saying this will be madness. This will be dangerous. It's not worth the risk. I think there is some people with some common sense trying to talk him out of it as well. Meanwhile, activists said on Wednesday that Starlink was offering free service in Iran. The satellite internet service has been key in getting around an internet shutdown launched by the theocracy on January the 8th. Iran began allowing people to call out internationally on Tuesday via their mobile phones, but calls from people outside the country into Iran remain blocked. We can confirm that the free subscriptions from Starlink terminals is fully functional. We tested it using a newly activated Starlink terminal from inside Iran. Starlink itself did not immediately respond to acknowledging the decision. Security service personnel also apparently were searching for Starlink dishes, as people in northern Tehran report authorities raiding apartment buildings with satellite dishes. While satellite television dishes are illegal, many in the capital have them in homes, and officials broadly had given up on enforcing the law in recent years. Yes, they're trying to silence people from allegedly inside and there. Human rights activist news agency said 2,403 were dead, of the dead were protesters, and 147 were government affiliated. 12 children were killed, along with 9 civilians. It said, were not taking part in the protests. More than 18,100 people have been detained, the group said. Gouging demonstrations abroad has grown more difficult, and the AP has been unable to independently assess the toll given the communications being disrupted in the country, which is why we looked at it from Al Jazeera's perspective, and we'll have a look at them in a moment there. But it is obviously, I don't know how long this is going to continue, or if in the end it's just going to be cracked down, and basically in the end it's going to be suppressed, and that just means that Iranian people are going to continue to suffer as a result. A proposed billionaire's tax in California rattles Silicon Valley, entangles Governor Gavin Newsom there. It looks like they're going to be taxing the rich in California, apparently, guys. A proposed billionaire tax in California has ignited political uproar in Silicon Valley, with tech titans threatening to leave the state, while Democrats Governor Gavin Newsom maneuvers to defeat a levy that fears will lead to an exodus of wealth. Technology mecca California has more billionaires than any other state, a few hundred by some estimates, nearly half of its personal income revenue. A financial backbone of nearly £350 million budget comes from the top 1% of earners. A large healthcare union is attempting to place a proposal before voters in November, which would impose a one-time 5% tax on the assets of billionaires, including stocks, arts, business, collectibles, and intellectual property, to backfill federal funding cuts to health services for lower-income people that were signed by President Donald Trump. It's a one-time tax. So it's not even a permanent tax. It's a one-time tax on them. But even they can't handle that. One-time tax, guys. In a state with a vast gap between the rich and the poor, the plan has resulted in a tangle of competing interests at a time when both Democrats and Republicans are struggling to respond to economic anxiety driven by rising costs of this year's midterm elections. He's literally proposing a one-time tax cut, and they're kicking off about it. It's not even a permanent thing. It's a one-time 5% tax. One time. And they're kicking off about it, the billionaires. Online war of words of tech leaders pondering a hollowed out of Silicon Valley, and millions of dollars flowing into political committees engaged in that fight. That includes $3 million from billionaire Peter Thiel, a founder of PayPal, to a committee tied to a business group opposing the tax. However, it's not clear if the proposal will make the ballot, with more than 870,000 signatures required for it to qualify. Although the tax would affect only a minuscule slice of California's roughly 39 million residents, it would siphon money from an immense pool of wealth. It would apply retroactively to billionaires living in the state as of January the 1st. At least 25 billionaires listed among Forbes magazine's 2025 rankings of the world's 500 wealthiest billionaires has ever lived in California or had a significant ties to the state, based on a review by the Associated Press. But determining whether they were full-time residents or just frequent visitors could turn into a matter of dispute, since many of them own property elsewhere. One-time tax, guys, but, you know. I generally hope it goes through. And them saying they're going to get up and leave over one tax, yeah. And what they'll try to argue is that they don't actually live in California, they live somewhere else. That's going to be their way of trying to get out of it. Actor Kiefer Sutherland arrested for allegedly assaulting a ride-hail driver, police says. Oh, that's the guy from 24, isn't it? There. Fact-focused, Trump repeats false claims when discussing Greenland security in the Arctic, which, yeah. Senate readers vote on Venezuela's war powers as Trump pressures GOP defectors. From Minneapolis to Venezuela, Trump piles up the risk as he faces midterm verdict. 2 weeks into the year, President Donald Trump's already claimed control of Venezuela. Greenland. This is more of an opinion piece rather than anything. I'm not really interested in opinion pieces here. Let's have a look at this one here. So Senate Republicans are facing intense pressure from President Donald Trump to vote down on the War Powers Resolution today that is aimed at limiting the president's ability to carry out further military action against Venezuela. Even if it all goes through, the president won't sign it. 5 GOP senators joined with Democrats to advance the resolution last week, but Trump has lashed out at defectors as he tried to head off passage of the bill. Democrats are forcing the vote after U.S. troops captured Venezuela. Kidnapped Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro in a surprising nighttime raid earlier this month. Here we have one of the most successful attacks ever, and they find a way to be against it. It's pretty amazing. It's a shame, Trump said in a speech at Michigan Tuesday. He also held insults at several of the Republicans who advanced the legislation, calling Senator Paul Randy of Kentucky a stone-cold loser, and Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins of Marines disasters. Trump's latest comments follow earlier phone calls with the senators, in which they described as tense. The fury being directed their way from the president underscores how the war powers vote has taken on new political significance as Trump expands his foreign policy ambitions in the Western Hemisphere. The legislation, even if passed by the Senate, has virtually no chance of becoming law because it will eventually need to be signed by Trump himself. But it represents both a test of the GOP's loyalty to the president and a marker of how much leeway the Republican-controlled Senate is willing to give Trump to use the military abroad. Yeah, that's the thing. He won't sign it. He won't sign it, even if he's pressured. He won't sign it because he wants complete and total power. I don't think he's going to sign it in any way, shape, or form. As of right now, I mean, unless they make us some kind of concession, but I don't think that's going to happen. China's trade surplus surges 20% to a record 1.2 trillion, even with Trump's tariffs. Luxury retailer sacks global files for bankruptcy, prepares for restructure. Planes used in boats to strike off Venezuela was painted to look like civilian aircraft, as sources said. Wow, that's cruel. That's cruel. The plane used by the US military to strike a boat accused of smuggling drugs off the coast of Venezuela last fall was painted to look like a civilian aircraft, a move that appeared to be at odds with the Pentagon's Manual of the Laws of War. The plane, part of the secret US fleet used in surveillance operations, was also carrying munitions in the fuselage, rather than beneath the aircraft, raising questions about the extent of which the operation was disguised in ways that run contrary to military protocol. Details of the plane's appearance, first reported by Monday by the New York Times, were confirmed by 2 people familiar with the situation who spoke on Citizen Autonomy to discuss the sensitive matter. Pentagon's Press Secretary Kelly Winston said in a statement that the U.S. military utilizes a wide array of standards and non-standard aircraft depending on mission requirements. New details comes after the Trump administration pressure campaign on Venezuela, which began with a massive military resources in Latin America and attacking a series of alleged drug smuggling boats, killing at least 115 people. 115 people. That's a war crime. Yeah, they tried to. They even so the anonymity. So basically, it wasn't even very clear. So basically, it looked like a normal civilian aircraft from the skies. So they even disguised the planes. Well, it says to strike a boat. So it's not saying all boats, but it's saying a boat. So one of the attacks, what AP sources are basically saying is that they disguised the plane, which makes you wonder, did they disguise all the planes as well? But yeah, it is a war crime because there's been, I've already said this, innocent fishermen have been killed. Innocent people have been killed as a direct consequence of it. And they've never, still to this day, they still never verified that, they still haven't verified that they're drug cartels or anything. They've not provided any information to confirm that at all. Major story: construction crane falls onto a moving train in Thailand, killing at least 29 people. Absolutely shocking. My absolute heartfelt condolences. I mean, how does a freak accident like that happen? Jesus. On a moving train as well. Talk about bad timing. Construction crane fell onto a moving passenger train, causing a fiercely derailment on Wednesday that killed at least 30 people in just scored of northeastern Thailand. The derailment occurred in part of a planned high-speed rail project that will eventually connect China with much of southeastern Asia. Yeah, I've heard about the big rail project that they were looking at. where the accident took place, said 4 passengers are believed to be among the 171 believed to have been on board when they're still missing. Searchers were looking through the wreckage in about 8 hours after the morning crash. The crane, which is being used to build an elevated part of the railway, fell as the train was travelling. Photos published in Thai media showed plumes of white and then dark smoke above the scenes and concrete equipment hanging down from grinders between 2 concrete support pillars. Rescuers tried to lift the wreckage after the construction crane fell onto the passenger train. You do have to wonder, you know, how secure the crane was as well. Rescue workers took control of an overall covenant. What appeared to be a section of the crane was scattered along the track. They've all investigation. In August 2024, a railway tunnel on a planned route also collapsed, killing 3 workers. Days of heavy rainfall were believed to have been a factor in the collapse. That might play a reason, yeah. The elevated segment that collapsed part of the Thai-Chinese high-speed railway project linked the capital Bangkok into the northeastern province of North Khai, bordering Lagos. The Stage 2 rail project has a total investment of more than 250 billion ballots, that's $16.8 billion. And it's associated with an ambitious plan to connect China with Southeast Asia under a Beijing Belt and Road Initiative there. Yeah, it looks like the rain, the weather played a part in that. Still have to question the crane. Like, how was the crane tipped over? Like, and the thing is, it's like the timing just sounds really, really bad. Really, really bad timing there. Any other stories here from the Associated Press? Given quite a bit of our time to it. Doesn't appear to be there. Let me just have a quick look here. 1 second. Nope, nothing there at the moment. Okay. Let's have a look at the Associated Press. Sorry, not the Associated Press. Let's have a look at Al Jazeera here, guys, and see what they're saying here. Ouch. Yeah, says Mel. Yeah, that is. If it's clearly military plane, you can take avoiding action. Probably won't save you, but at least you get a chance. But the thing is, you're in those waters. You don't expect to be shot at because you've done nothing wrong. Like, whether it looks like a civilian craft or a military plane, like, you normally in rules of engagement, you know, you're given an option to surrender or whatnot. They never got that. They were just shot at. Unquestionably, like there was that other story of where people survived, and Pete Hegseth ordered the killing of no survivors as well. Thanks for popping in, Billy Kershaw. Appreciate it. Iran declares U.S. Interventionist rhetoric as part of the regime change policy. My leg went to heaven before me. Israel's war extinguishes Gaza's childhood. Yep, absolutely horrible. We do not want to be Americans. Greenlanders fear U.S. threat to annex. Are Iran's protests this time around? I don't know. I don't think they are. I just think it's a case of they're just going to be even more brutal down on them, you know? Iran's judiciary to speed up trials accused of protest crackdowns. Yep, we saw that. So that's definitely happening because it's Al Jazeera commenting on it as well. As hate spirals in India, Hindu extremists turn to Christian targets. Anti-Muslim violence has soared for more than a decade under India's PM Modi's government. Now Christians face the brunt of Hindu marginalization too. Yeah, this is their leader, Modi and the government, basically pushing out any other, really targeting other religions now. On Christmas Eve, Hindus hardline groups affiliated with the Indian Prime Minister Modi, BJP, announced a shutdown in the central Indian city of Vapsor. The protest was called over allegations of forced religious conversions by Christmas, a claim frequently levelled against the Christian community, despite scant evidence. That same day, a group of men armed with wooden sticks stormed a shopping mall in Rapidly, vandalising Christmas decorations and disrupting celebrations. Police filed a case against 13 unidentified attackers, but arrested only 6. They were released on bail within days, and upon their release, they were greeted with public processions, garlands, and chants outside the jail, videos of which circulated widely on social media. On Christmas morning, Modi visited a Catholic church in New Delhi to celebrate the occasion, but did not condemn the violence. This incident was not the only one. According to a new report, religious hate speech and violence in India is escalating, with the country's small Christian minority emerging as an increasingly visible target alongside Muslims. Yeah, Muslims have been targeted consistently for a long time in India. And the climate of intensifying Hindu majority rhetoric. Yeah, it looks like they're going to be pushed. Yeah, they're trying to push out other religions. The research by India Hate Lab, a project of the Washington-based DC-based Center for the Study of Organized Hate, has found that the country's record of total of 1,318 hate speech events in 2025. That's a lot of hate speeches, an average of more than 3 per day. These events, organised and led largely by Hindu majority groups as well as the government BJP, targets Muslims and Christians, marking a 97% increase in hate speech since 2023 and a 13% rise in over 2024. While Muslims remain a primary target, the report found a sharp rise in anti-Christian rhetoric. Hate speech events targeting Christians rose from 115 in 2024 to 162 in 2025, 41% increase. This was born out of the violence and intimidation unleashed by Hindu supremacists on Christmas celebrations last month. Incidents were recorded across India in the capital state of Delhi, as well as states of Madhya Pradesh, Assam, Kerala, where the mob ravaged them all, is the capital. Christians only account for 2.3% of India's population, while Muslim account is 14.2%. The Hindu community marks up to 80%. Why do we have this religious problem? All because they don't support your religion, or because they have their own. That's what happens when you've had the same person in power for such a long time, same government in power for a long time. They've been in power for a long time. The Hindu controlled there. No worries, Scott Hayes. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Hope you are doing well there. We've all got things to do, so it's all, you don't need to apologise. It's totally fine. I appreciate you being here nonetheless. Mama says Rogora genocide case in The Hague is flawed and unfounded. Yeah, it's definitely flawed and unfounded, coming from the military Judah government that, I don't know, overthrew the democratically elected government. Yeah, definitely. I touched on the case yesterday, to be fair. United Nations, Albanese, Israel treats storm-hit Palestinians in Gaza as expendable. Yep, that's true. They do treat them as expendables. They don't care. They don't care. What else they've got here? Will Elon Musk's X changing the Iranian flag have any impact on the ground? No. Europe should prepare for Greenland annexation. That's an old story there. Let me just see what the latest live updates they've got. What's happening there? 2 men enter Iranian embassy in Berlin to tear down the flag. German police said the pair climbed over a fence into the embassy grounds and ripped down the Iranian flag last night. Both wanted to host 2 pre-Islamic public flags, but failed, the data news agency have reported. Security guards fired pepper spray, and the men were arrested on the sidewalk outside. Protests in support of the anti-government rallies in London this week. One demonstrator removed the Iranian flag at the country's embassy and displayed the pre-Islamic revolutionary flag. Dozens of confession videos appear on Iran state media. Iranian state media have aired at least 97 confessions from protesters, many expressing remorse for their actions since the protests began on December 28th, according to a rights group tackling the videos. Suspects are shown handcuffed, their face blurred. The footage features dramatic background music interspersed with clips appearing to show people attacking security forces. Protesters saying saboteurs will face capital punishment. Tehran is known to have executed 12 people. Yeah, we talked about that, yeah. Basically, intimidation and fear is what they're trying to do there. Intimidation and fear, guys. Just a reminder, at 12 o'clock, we will have Prime Minister's questions. So if you're interested in Prime Minister's questions, you can stick around for that as well. And also, if you want to support me, guys, hitting the like button, sharing across social media, subscribing, all that good stuff really helps support the channel. We're already, I can't believe this, guys, but we're already near, we've had, since I got demonetized, we've had almost nearly up to 40 more new subscribers, which is fantastic, and I really appreciate all the new viewers. Thank you for those who are new to the channel. Really appreciate it. Ideally, I'd like to get to 3,000 subscribers this year. So if you guys want to help me get there, it'd be greatly appreciated. And of course, if you want to financially support me in the work that I do, you can either buy me a coffee or join the Patreon. And if you do, your name will get added to the wonderful list down here of all the amazing people who have contributed in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't, even if it's a small amount, it makes a big difference. It really, really does. And your name gets added to that list there. So your name will be added to that list. And by the way, I just want to make this clear to everyone as well. When I don't know when I'll get demonetized, or if I get demonetized, but if I do, this list is not going anywhere. All the people who have supported me, this is still remaining here because you guys went above and beyond to support me from a financial manner. And I know not everyone can, but I really do appreciate everyone who goes out of their way to. It really does help support me here, guys. And it keeps me going. It really does keep me going. So thank you to everyone who has. I really do appreciate it. But obviously, if you can't financially support me and you're struggling yourself, just the best things you can do, guys and girls, hit the like button, sharing, subscribing, leaving comments in my videos. All that stuff is the best way you can support me if you can't support me financially. And I really do appreciate it. Right, let's have a look and see what's happening on African news. Uganda's president urges people to vote in Thursday's general election. They got a general election tomorrow. Let's have a listen, shall we? Rather than give my voice a bit of a break, and let's have a listen to see what's happening here.
Thousands of people arriving at Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni's final campaign rally in the capital Kampala ahead of Thursday's general election. The 81-year-old leader of the National Resistance Movement Party is seeking a seventh term in office. Soldiers have been deployed onto the streets for the vote, a move that has alarmed opposition figures. Amid a sea of yellow, the ruling party's colour, this supporter says she's been impressed by his youth programme.
Those young people, especially the youth, they have youth programs, and the president has injected a lot of money for the youth. But those people who are in hold of those offices should find better means of conveying that money to reach the youth, especially the ghetto youth. They don't get those monies because of mishandling from many hands. Yeah.
Despite his age and growing concern over his government's suppression of political opponents, human rights abuses and corruption scandals, his supporters remain steadfast. Another partisan at the rally said under Museveni, women's rights have improved. They say people used to carry dogs for protection because the situation was so bad. But ever since Museveni came to power, us women got rescued because we were kept in the kitchen, but now we can speak in public. Mobile internet providers have been told to temporarily suspend services, with the Ugandan Communications Commission citing misinformation, electoral fraud and incitement of violence. Museveni, one of Africa's longest governing leaders, has changed the constitution twice to remove age and term limits to allow him to stand.
You go and vote. Anybody who tries to interfere with your freedom will be crushed. I'm telling you this. We are ready to put an end to this indiscipline.
His political opponents, including singer-turned-politician Bobi Wine, also held rallies. The United Nations Human Rights Office says the vote is taking place in an atmosphere of repression and intimidation, with authorities detaining hundreds of opposition supporters.
That's what I thought here. Yeah, I think a lot of people obviously speaking out in support and the crowds and that. I don't know how many legitimately are backing the president because obviously he's in his 80s, he's been in term for 7 years, and the fact that he's changed the constitution to benefit himself and keep himself in power. Yeah, that tells me a lot of people are doing it out of, if they don't back the president, something could happen to them. And a lot of them speaking out in support there just out of, if they don't, they'll be in fear. Like, it's not like they're just from this report, they're not airing the opposition whatsoever here. And yeah, that doesn't sound good to me. And by the way, this is the same country that if you're LGBTQ or gay or lesbian, your life is in danger in that country as well, because I think they imposed a ban or something on their rights or restrictions a couple of years ago as well. So it's not very good at all there. But yeah, I think he's going to rig it in his favour there. I fully expect it to. He's going to remain in power, unfortunately, no matter what happens. Sudan recovers hundreds of artifacts looted during the war, apparently, there. Story on the right-hand side. Algeria's president urges youth living abroad illegally to come home. Why would they want to come home if they know they're going to be threatened if they come back? Vienna battles deep freeze as Dunable ice threatens shipping, apparently. That's a story in Japan. Former Birkenable minister has been murdered at her home, prosecutors have said there. Nigeria to revise inflation reporting after artificial spike expected in December there. Ireland's pledged fresh aid to Gaza during Rafah border visit, apparent there. A senior Irish government minister has visited the Egyptian side of Rafah border crossing as Ireland announced new humanitarian support for Gaza. I know Gaza's on the right side of I know that the Irish government's on the right side of history, and I praise them for that when it comes to this. But it's not going to make a difference if Israel aren't going to let anyone in. Unfortunately, I'm glad they call out what's going on, but not enough people in the West are doing it. Military deployment in Kampala as Uganda gets ready for general election. Yet we just saw that. Landslide in Eastern Congo, at least 13 have been dead. It leaves over 13 missing. Absolutely horrible situation there as well. Syrian displaced by deadly battles in Aleppo begin to return to the city there as well. So some of the stories there from Africa News. Viper Scott, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Just been listening to it. No worries. Thanks for the link for Patreon. Appreciate that. There. Some interesting for sure. Roger Devine, thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Just drop a like. Have a nice day. You too, Roger. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Hope you have a good day, whatever your plans are. Got about a couple minutes left before we need to switch over to Prime Minister's questions. No, I need to get that set up for you guys. New York Times here. China announces record trade surplus as exports flood world markets. A 1.2 trillion surplus last year. Caught between superpowers, Canada seeks a new path in Beijing. Yep, because they can't trust their partners across the border. Forget the cyanides. Here's why you should get your dog a stroller. Yeah, a lot of people put their dogs in strollers now. What is that? Generally, what I generally want to know, what if you are a dog owner in the chat, do you put your dog in a stroller? And if so, why? Why do you put them in a stroller? Now, if the dog is unable to walk or has an injury with their paws or their legs or something, that's something I understand. But why do we put them in? Why do we put them in prams, like in a stroller? Why are we doing that? Isn't that literally pampering? Like, I'm generally like, yeah, people might ridicule my choice of pet transportation, but it's changed Daria's life and it made me a better person. I guess it's this gives this thought and the interpretation, I suppose, that rather than having a child can be more obviously is less manageable than a dog. That's probably what it is, you know. Maybe that's mindset. Obviously, like I say, if the dog has an injury or something where it can't walk far and whatnot, that's totally understandable. But some people just have it for the sake of it. I'm generally curious. One of my neighbours does that with his dog. The poor thing, back legs have gone. That's in that situation, as you said there, Roger. That's definitely understandable there. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate it. Yeah, in that situation, obviously, that's totally understandable. Humans, Regan, we bred them into lameness, says Martin there. Hello, Witchy Goth. Good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Some tiny dogs are safer. Yeah, I don't know how many celebrities still put the dogs in their handbags and whatnot still thing. I think that really is a bit weird. It is a bit weird, that kind of thing, isn't it? What other stories they got here before we switch over? Yeah, probably have to leave the other newspapers, other headlines, guys. Crackdown in Iran, leaders are only buying time before protests erupt again. Shoot to kill accounts of brutal crackdown on protests emerging from Iran. Like a military operation clashes rise with federal agents in Minneapolis. So I was listening to Vosh's feed, and apparently some interesting insight, guys. I do recommend checking out his video on this as well. So with regards to ICE and Minnesota, they are not everyone within ICE in the agency is on board with basically trying to wanting to go back there. There's quite a few of them. So the story is that some of them don't want to go back to Minnesota and Minneapolis at all. They don't want to associate themselves with that. They don't like it at all because of what happened. I think they're actually terrified. Some of them are terrified, is what my understanding is, which is quite a fascinating point of view. Some are skeptical that whether it was the right choice or not to defend the agent as well. Agents and aggressive tactics by ICE and the Border Patrol have many seen on viral videos have intensified the frustration and fear among residents. Yeah. They there was also a clip I saw of a disabled woman being dragged into a car as well, really brutally, which was quite nasty to see as well. Yeah, a dozen of refugees Minnesota sent to Texas, lawyers said. Refugees, many of them from Somalia, have passed security screenings. The Trump administration has vowed to re-examine thousands of refugee cases. The Minneapolis mayor who cursed out ICE is no stranger to crisis. Denmark and Greenland prepare for White House meeting. Oh, that's going to be intense. 6 prosecutors quit to push to investigate ICE shooting victims' window. The press conference and the meeting itself is going to be weird as hell. 2,000 ICE agents in Minnesota, more than the whole police force. Yeah, that's their desperation. That's the desperation, isn't it? It's a desperation to take control. They're really pushing hard on it. Late night, Stephen Colbert accuses Trump of invading Minnesota. Well, that's exactly what he did, didn't he? Why keeping score isn't fun anymore. Judge strikes down Trump's latest efforts to stop offshore wind. I'm going to switch over in a minute, guys. For those who don't know, we're going to be going to Prime Minister's questions in the next few minutes, just for reference there. Fosh is okay, but sometimes he annoys me for being too American exceptionalist. That's why I don't listen to him. Whenever he covers anything regarding the UK, I totally blank it. I don't even bother listening to it because he doesn't know what goes on in the UK. Like, he really doesn't. From a foreign perspective, from American perspective, I think he's very, very good. But when it comes to the UK specific, I'm not gonna take any lectures from him about it. You know, I don't value his knowledge on the UK at all, especially as a British person. But I do value his input from America. US to run name Palestine committee to name Palestine committee to run Gaza. Officials said the leadership could be announced as soon as today, but US efforts to shape up post-war Gaza, dismantling Hamas, has faced hurdles there apparently there as well. Yeah, it's the second time we've heard that story there. Interesting. Right, let me just switch over 1 second, guys. I'm just going to get the feed up for Prime Minister's questions, which will be it's already live, but it doesn't actually officially start yet. Let me just mute that. Put the desktop audio back on. I see. What's the SMP's guy? Who's the man of the SMP, guys? The hero for Scotland. Oh God, what's his name? I'm losing my mind today. He's there today, guys. Look, Prime Minister's questions. PMQ cam. I don't think the Prime Minister sat down yet. Normally I go a minute after. Yeah, he's just sat down now. I've just got it on mute at the moment, guys. There, let me have a look at what you guys are saying in the chat while we wait. I'm getting ready for my run. Will be as soon as Fawn gets off my knee. He's not budging, lol, says Witchy Goff. No, move, get that run done. Get that run done. You don't want to be running later on, that's for sure, because it's going to be pouring down with rain later. That's it, Stephen Flynn, thank you. Viper Scott, I don't know why I couldn't remember his name. Yeah, yeah, just cool. There he is. There's the man himself. Why is he not sitting in the chair? He's sitting on the floor. Deserves better than that. Absolutely terrible. Why is he sitting there? Should be sitting in the seats. Oh yeah, because I know the way it works. To be fair, guys. Martin says, "Oh bugger, I overslept this morning and now running late for my next job. Take care, guys. Girls trying to be good. Yeah, have a good day at work, Martin. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Yeah, sorry that you overslept. No worries, person impersonator. Thanks for popping in as well. I know not everybody's all interested. I know not everyone's interested in Prime Minister's questions, so it's totally fine, totally understandable, guys. I'll be starting in a bit. Just a quick reminder while they finish up this whenever they finish this up here. I'll be going live again tonight at 8 o'clock for what Reganelite's Watch Along, and I'll also be live tomorrow night for the Roundtable. We'll be back. Myself, Dave McGuinness, Grand Prize Power to the People, and Daily Blase will come together for the Roundtable chat. So do join us for that tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So plenty to talk about there. It'll be a very interesting discussion. First one of 2026, the first roundtable. So I'm very much looking forward to it here as well. And I'm looking to plan a premiere video on Sunday night for my birthday for you guys. I may even do a live stream, maybe, possibly. It depends. It depends. Right. He's talking.
Job.
PMQs.
Question number one, Mr. Speaker. Very well
Mr. Speaker, can I start by condemning, in the strongest possible terms, the sickening repression and murder of protesters in Iran? The contrast between the courage of the Iranian people and the brutality of their desperate regime has never been clearer. Mr. Speaker, we've called out this brutality face to face. We're working with allies on further sanctions and doing all we can to protect UK nationals.
Yeah, you're doing a great job as well. I personally would like to call out and condemn Israel for the horrific violence and thuggery that they are causing in the West Bank and inside Gaza as well. The horrific brutalities that they do on the Palestinian people is utterly shameful. But I can actually do that because I've got the balls to do it. But obviously he can't do that because he's Israel's bitch, allegedly.
Mr. Speaker, time and again under the party opposite, towns and cities across the north were failed. Today, this Labour government delivers change.
Have we heard this before, guys? Answers on the postcard, what you're about to hear.
A major new rail network across the north and a new northern growth strategy. That is the renewal that this country voted for. This morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
And Viper Scott points out, what about the protesters in the UK? That's right. The police are about to be given new powers over protesters as well. That's going to make life even better for protesters in the UK. Suppressing freedom of speech here in the UK while crying about freedom of speech in Iran. Hypocritical.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I associate myself with the Prime Minister's remarks, particularly about Iran? Visiting schools in my Spelthorne constituency is one of the great joys of this job. So I was frankly appalled to hear that the Labour Member of Parliament for Bristol North East was prevented from visiting a school in his constituency because he is Jewish. This is anti-Semitism and it is happening in plain sight. With all due respect to the Prime Minister, I don't want to know how he feels about this. I want to know what he's going to do about it.
There's a number of... I've already discussed this this issue, and I just want to make this very, very clear here. You know, one of the main reasons was the concern and well-being of the children. and the possibility of a protest building up around the school was one of the reasons why. They're obviously trying to paint this as the teachers and everyone in the school is pro-Palestine, which I don't accept that premise at all, but that's exactly what they're doing here. For me, it's about the safety and the well-being of children. There were pro-Palestinian people planning to protest around the school if he had went there. There were plans to do that. And for me, it's more about the protection, the well-being of the children. And you don't want children being picked up from school and coming across all that. You don't want that. I don't want that. Okay. But they all try to paint this as anti-Semitic or suppressing Israelis. That's how they'll paint this.
Can I start by thanking him for raising this case, because it is very serious, very concerning. And all members of Parliament should be able to visit anywhere in their constituency, schools or other places, without any fear of anti-Semitism. We do take this seriously. We're providing more funding for security and support we're putting in across the country, and we will be holding those to account who prevented this visit to this school.
Annalise Midgley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank the Prime Minister for his commitment to delivering the Hillsborough Law. But it has been proven that following the Manchester Arena bombings, MI5 spent 6 years misleading the public and concealing information. There was no risk to national security because it was a closed hearing. So will the Prime Minister deliver justice for those families and confirm that this government will bring forward an amendment that will make robust the duties and responsibilities of Canada for all parts of the state, including individuals in the security services, so we can finally say, never again?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank my honourable friend? The Hillsborough Law will right wrongs of the past, changing the balance of power to ensure the state can never hide from the people it should serve. And I would like to acknowledge, Mr. Speaker, I think some of the families are in the gallery with us here today, and I will be meeting them later on this afternoon. I've always been clear the duty of candour applies to the intelligence services. I made a commitment we wouldn't water down the bill, and the amendments we put forward strengthen it. It is right that there are essential safeguards in place to protect national security, and we've got that balance right. We'll meet the families and we'll outline the next steps on Monday in relation to that crucial balance.
We come to the Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Bednall.
Okay, Kemi, let's see what you can do.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I agree with the Prime Minister's comments on Iran? Today, Irfan Soltani faces execution for protesting in Iran, and I'm sure the whole House will be united in condemning this. Our thoughts are with him and his family and the brave protesters fighting for their freedom against an evil regime. Mr. Speaker, I know the Home Secretary will be making a statement today on the West Midlands Police. The first thing that she should be announcing is the sacking of the Chief Constable. And I thank the member for West Suffolk for relentlessly pushing this issue. Mr. Speaker, can I welcome the Prime Minister's latest U-turn? I feel like I say that every week. Mandatory digital ID was a rubbish policy, and we on this side of the House are glad to see the back of it. But yesterday, the Health Secretary said the Prime Minister's New Year's resolution should be, and I quote, to try to get it right first. To try to get it right first time.
That's not what he said. Well, that's what the papers said.
To try to get it right first time. Yes, you did say that. You did say that. My question is, does he agree?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm determined to make it harder for people to work illegally in this country, and that's why there will be checks, they will be digital, and they will be mandatory. And I'll tell her what this government is doing, whether on planning, child poverty, employment rights, investing in our NHS. We're taking the right choices for Britain, and they oppose every single one of them. And she talks about U-turns and consistency. From the party that used to recognise the challenge of climate change, and now they run from it, who promised to cut immigration, but then lost control of it, who once took great pride in our diversity. Now they talk of deporting our neighbours to achieve cultural coherence. And Mr. Speaker, On consistency, don't get me started on 5 Prime Ministers, 6 Chancellors, 8 Home Secretaries, 16 Housing Ministers. They had more positions in 14 years than the Kama Sutra. No wonder they're knackered and they left the country screwed.
Bloody hell, that's... Jesus Christ. That's a pretty brutal one. Dear oh dear.
A lot of waffle, Mr. Speaker, but it's still a U-turn. The member for Hull East has said, it's so interesting, Mr. Speaker, Labour MPs must think very carefully before defending policy decisions publicly. He said, and I quote, "This stuff leaves us looking really stupid."
Yep.
I'm sorry to tell him, but Labour MPs have been looking stupid for a long time. But let's look, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let's look at some other things the Prime Minister didn't get right first time, starting with the family farms tax. Some farmers were so terrified they sold their farms last year only for the Prime Minister to U-turn 2 days before Christmas. Will he apologise for the misery he's caused countless farmers?
That's brutal.
Mr. Speaker, the principle we put in place on inheritance tax is the right one. We listened, we made an adjustment. But what we're doing is turning the country around. Yes, we've changed the country. We've changed the failed approach of the last Tory government. They crashed the economy and sent mortgage rates through the roof. They left millions stuck on NHS waiting lists. They presided over the worst Parliament for living standards on record. Now we're turning that around. We're changing that. Inflation and interest rates are coming down. Waiting lists are coming down. Wages are up more in the first year of a Labour government than 10 years of the Tory government. But I understand, Mr. Speaker, that she's taking advice on change. She had Nadeem Zahawi in to ask his advice, how to change and how to save her party. Please don't tell me she listened to his accountant. The next day after the advice, he jumped ship to reform, the 23rd former Tory MP to do so. I don't know which is more pitiful, the flood of former Tory MPs deserting her sinking ship, or the Reform Party so desperate to launder any old failed Tory politician.
That was really, really good. I just want to point out, though, I wanted to put it out there as well, that he talks about obviously bringing down the waiting list and whatnot. There are still loads of people in hospitals up and down England in the NHS who are still stuck in corridors because there's not enough spaces for them. And they still haven't tackled that. Wes Streeting has still not tackled that as Health Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister doesn't need to worry about me. I'm all right. And
that's what they all say.
And I didn't hear an apology. I didn't hear an apology to the farmers. Has he even apologised to the member for Penrith, who stood up for farmers only to have the whip removed?
Wow.
This Prime Minister treats his MPs so badly, they follow his lead and he hangs them out to dry every time. Let's turn to another area the Prime Minister has got wrong. His budget doubled business rates for thousands of pubs. So can the Prime Minister tell us, is there going to be any change to his business rates policy?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we're working with the sector to ensure that they get the support that they need. I have to say, the Leader of the Opposition's newfound concern for pubs will come as a surprise to anyone who remembers the 7,000 pubs that were closed under the Tories. And as Business Secretary, she didn't say a word about it. So we support business. We also support workers, Mr. Speaker. And that's why we passed our Employment Rights Act. And on Mr.
7,000 pubs, that's a lot of pubs to have gone down by the Conservatives. That does say a lot there.
Mr. Speaker, on Monday, the Business Secretary and I went to Croydon to discuss our Employment Rights Act with workers there. They were very keen on the paternity rights and the maternity rights, which I know the Leader of the Opposition opposes. And whilst we were there at IKEA, they showed me their new prototype, the IKEA Shadow Cabinet. The trouble is, nobody wants to buy it. It's mainly constructed of old dead wood. And every time you lose a nut, it defects to reform.
That's just really good puns. I do like it. It's very, very good. Very good stuff from Keir there. I like it.
Mr. Speaker, he didn't answer the question about business rates. It sounds like he doesn't know what his policy is. And this has been a farce from start to finish. On Monday, the business secretary said the Chancellor did not even realise the impact of her business rates policy. No surprise there. But yesterday, the tax office said that they did tell the government what the impact would be.
Oh.
So can the Prime Minister be clear? Did he understand the impact of his own policy on pubs?
No. It's the honest answer.
Mr. Speaker, we're working with this sector. She hasn't explained why she said nothing about the 7,000 pubs that closed on her watch. We're doing other things on the cost of living to help people.
Don't get me wrong. Like we can talk about all we want about the Conservatives and what they've done under their 14 years, right? But this government's been in power for over a year and a half now. Like, you need to answer the questions. You need to answer what you're doing about it.
To make sure they can get out, to spend money in pubs and hospitality, boosting the minimum wage. What did they do? They opposed it. Freezing rail fares and prescription charges. What did they do? They opposed it. £150 off energy bills. What did they do? They opposed it. She said nothing when pubs were closing, and she opposes every measure now. And she said a moment ago, I'm all right. She clearly didn't listen to the advice of Nadeem Zahawi, because what he told her, he's now made fun of it. He told her that they failed on mass migration, they failed on our armed forces, and he told her that she's leading, his words, a defunct brand the nation can no longer trust. No wonder he's joined the Tory migration to reform. Mr. Speaker, it's the second Boris wave.
Mr. Speaker, I asked him if he understood the impact of his own policy. He didn't say yes. The reason he U-turns all the time is because he is clueless. He is blowing around like a plastic bag in the wind, no sense of direction whatsoever. And let's be clear, Mr. Speaker, this mess goes beyond pubs. The whole of the hospitality industry, cafes, hotels, restaurants, they're all being clobbered by Labour's tax hikes. There is an answer to this. Conservatives would abolish business rates for small businesses on the high street. Mr. Speaker, yes, they're all chuntering. He's already agreeing with us on family farms tax. He's already agreeing with us on digital ID. Why doesn't he make it a hat trick and abolish business rates for the high street?
Mr. Speaker, they crashed the economy, and now they want to give lectures. She's wondering why nobody's listening to them. Nobody is ever going to listen to them on the economy ever again. Mr. Speaker, in 18 months, because of the decisions we've made, inflation is falling, and the Bank of England say it's coming back down to target. We've had 6 interest rate cuts in a row. Wages are up more in the first year of a Labour government than under the first 10 years of their government, and we beat the forecasts on growth for 2025. We're turning this country around after the appalling mess that they left it in.
He says no one's going to listen to us. Who's going to listen to him? The winter fuel allowance, U-turn. Waspy women, U-turn.
Yep.
The 2-child benefit cap, U-turn. Grooming gangs inquiry, U-turn. The family farms tax, U-turn. Digital ID, U-turn. Jury trials? U-turn. We hope so. We hope so. I think that's going to be the next one, Mr. Speaker. Week after week, these poor people sitting behind him have to defend the indefensible, only for him to U-turn a few days later. Mr. Speaker, one of his cabinet ministers told a journalist that what's happening at the moment is extraordinarily bad. Another said we've gone through a catastrophic series of missteps. Yet another minister said, we are so unpopular at the moment, I've come to the conclusion it's worth rolling the dice on a new leader. They're right, aren't they?
He is a goner. He is a goner. It's just a matter of when, not if.
Mr. Speaker, here's the difference. I changed my party, and that's why we stand here with a majority Labour government. She sits there with her party that lost 2/3 of their MPs at the last election, and she's losing more every week. They're queuing up to join the member of Clacton's laundry service for disgraced Tory politicians. Meanwhile, inflation is down, wages are up, and waiting lists are down. Labour's turning the corner and changing this country for the better.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure you will agree, and I hope others across the chamber will also, that we need to recognise and to celebrate achievements. And I say this because across the country, knife crime offences is going down. And of course, more needs to be done and more should be done. But this week's figures have shown that London has had its safest year ever under the London Mayor Sadiq Khan.
Hell yeah.
And in fact, homicide rate in London is the lowest ever since records began. Now, Mr. Speaker, Reform and the Conservatives repeatedly talk down our capital city. So will the Prime Minister join me in saying they are wrong, and will he applaud these achievements?
Should do.
She draws attention to the important work of the Mayor of London, and nobody should be talking our country down or talking London down. And she's right to say that since we came into office, the number of knife crime offences is down. But, Mr. Speaker, there is more to do. We're introducing new powers to seize knives and increasing the penalty for selling knives to under 18s. And the party opposite, what did they do? They're chuntering. They voted against those provisions. And what's obvious about London and Reform is they've got a candidate for mayor who doesn't like London, a new ex-Tory recruit who struggled to pay his taxes in this country, and a leader who spends more time in France than in his constituency.
Sir Ed David, leader of the Liberal Democrat.
That's not so bad.
Mr. Speaker, can I associate myself and my party with the Prime Minister's comments on Iran? And can I encourage him to go even further on sanctions and also prescribe the IRG? Mr. Speaker, Sandra is 71. She has bladder cancer. Just after Christmas, she went into her local A&E. She had to wait 31 hours to be admitted on a plastic trolley and in a plastic chair. Last year, more than 500,000 people waited for over 12 hours in A&E to be admitted, more than any year in the history of the NHS. Mr. Speaker, this corridor care crisis was created by the Conservatives, but it's got worse under Labour. So will the Prime Minister end this scandal by taking up our plan to end all 12-hour A&E waits this year?
Prime Minister.
We know that social care is a factor into the lack of beds in this situation, and I'm so glad that Ed Davey has brought this up, because this is something that is infuriating. There was literally a video this week that showed the chaos of the corridors that are taking place here. That story is just one of many horrible stories that are taking place across the NHS in England. It's a fucking shambles. And I said this at the time, guys, that I was willing to give West Streeting and the Labour government a chance to see what they could do. They've had a year and a half now since being in government to take action on this, and they haven't done enough. Like, I understand things take time, but this issue is not being addressed still.
Can I first?
I would have liked to have seen at least a reduction in it. But we're not even getting that. We're getting an increase. Why is that happening?
Say through him to Sandra that that's simply not acceptable for her or for anybody else, and I'd appreciate if he passes that on to her directly. We have put record investment into the NHS so we can turn this problem around, and we are turning it around. I would say to him that he puts forward his plans for change, but he never votes for the increase in investment and the measures that are needed to actually put that into practice. You can't change things without investing in them. You can't call for change and vote against a budget that puts a record investment into the NHS.
It doesn't matter whether, I mean this sincerely, it doesn't actually matter if the Lib Dems voted for or against. You've got a majority. You don't need the votes of other parties. You have a majority in your government of Labour MPs to whip your policies. So you don't need the Liberal Democrats anyway. And by the way, you keep talking about investment. Well, where is that money going? because it's clearly not making people's lives better. They're still stuck in those bloody corridors.
Ed Davey.
Mr. Speaker, we saw what happened to the last government when they failed to improve the NHS, and if the Prime Minister is not careful, that will happen to his. Mr. Speaker, last month I asked the Prime Minister to get a grip of South East Water, who'd left thousands of people in Royal Tunbridge Wells without water. Now it's happened again, not only in Tunbridge Wells, but in East Grinstead, Burgess Hill, Haywers Heath, and other parts of Kent and Sussex.
Outrageous.
Families, pensioners, schools, care homes, businesses without any water since Saturday. And the water company bosses involved now stand accused of misleading Parliament over their failures. Mr. Speaker, South East Water keeps failing its customers over and over again. So will the government immediately strip them of their licence?
Absolutely, they should.
Can I thank him for raising this, because the situation is clearly totally unacceptable. He will want to know that ministers have chaired daily emergency meetings to hold the company to account, to deliver on the change that's urgently needed at the moment in all the areas that he mentioned. We've also doubled the compensation rates for individuals and businesses, and we're absolutely clear the company must urgently invest in infrastructure, and we'll publish the Water White Paper in due course, but we are holding those daily meetings to hold this company to account.
That I will say, obviously, compensation obviously is good for certain businesses and whatnot, and holding daily meetings, that's all well and good, yeah. But I've said this, yeah, when I've spoken about the South East Water and what they've been doing. What about the people? What about the customers? Are they still being forced to pay their bills to South East Water? Because my response is they shouldn't be paying a fucking penny while they're in this situation. They should not be paying any money whatsoever towards these water companies at all. At all. And I have not got an answer from that.
Dr. Maria Timble.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm delighted by today's Northern Powerhouse Rail announcement.
I'm glad you're so buoyant about it, because we've heard it so many times from previous Conservative and even Labour governments in the past, and guess what? Nothing comes to fruition. So you could be as buoyant as you about it all you want, but it's all about putting it into action at the end of the day, young lady. Or should I say older lady? I don't know. But either way, I'm not buying it, because they've been told this so many times.
A down payment on the north of England's future. Fulfilling Lord Blunkett's rail plan for Yorkshire also included upgrades to the Penistone Line train, the spine that connects south to West Yorkshire, coursing through 8 constituencies, serving 500,000 people.
If that is the case, Viper Scott, what the government should do is force these water companies to repay those direct debits back during this period, both for January and December, or however long it's been. They should be paying it out of their own pocket back here to whatever the amount their bill is. They should be refunding that immediately back to them for it. That's what they should do. I hope that's the case. I really hope so.
I was growing up, my dad opened Silkstone Common Station as a Dodder councillor. I want my legacy to be 2 trains an hour, Tidball, for our Penistone line. Will the Prime Minister meet with me to discuss how we can secure funding for the second phase of the Penistone Line upgrade scheme to achieve 2 services an hour?
None of this matters, guys, because as Viper Scott said, 2030, 2040 to get it furnished. Well, the work is not even going to start on the Northern Powerhouse work until 2030. And guess what, guys? There's going to be a general election before then. So there's a very good chance that Labour won't even be in power by then. So it's probably going to be all this buffer and all this big talk, and then you find out it gets shelved by the next government, whoever comes in.
Can I pay tribute to her as a dedicated campaigner on this and so many other issues? And I'm delighted that today we're announcing a transformation in journeys across the north. Of course, it was said and promised many times by the party opposite, but never delivered. We're taking action and delivering. We're working with Kirklees Council to prepare the business case for the first phase of upgrading the line. And I know the Transport Secretary would be happy to discuss the details of that with her.
Robin Swan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. At question time last week, the Prime Minister seemed to intimate that the government was bringing forward amendments to the Northern Ireland Troubles Bill. Within hours of him saying that, the Irish government's Minister for Foreign Affairs said that any significant changes must have the full agreement of both governments. So, Mr. Speaker, can I ask the Prime Minister, is he intending bringing forward amendments to a flawed Troubles Bill and give a reassurance that the Irish government does not have a veto over legislation in this House?
Prime Minister. Can I thank him for raising this and tell him I spoke to the Taoiseach in December about this, and I know he's committed to delivering on this. The new legacy unit has been established within the Garda, and I'm confident the Irish government's other commitments will be delivered as set out in the joint framework. For the first time, information held by the Irish authorities is being shared with a reformed Legacy Commission, meaning more families and victims of terrorism getting information about what happened to their loved ones.
Glendon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I welcome the Prime Minister's leadership and our government's clear commitment to tackling child poverty, recognising that high-quality education is one of the best routes out of poverty.
That's true.
However, young people in one of the most deprived areas of my constituency, attending Churchill Community College, have been taught in temporary accommodation for over 16 months. Can the Prime Minister use his good offices to expedite funding from the Department for Education to support rebuilding this school? Thank you.
Prime Minister.
16 months. 16 months in temporary accommodation. The school has had to be in. There's still a lot of schools in this situation as well.
Can I say I'm very proud of what we're doing on child poverty, lifting 500,000 children out of poverty. The party opposite says their policy is to plunge them straight back into poverty, and they should be ashamed of that. The situation she draws my attention to is appalling. Parents and teachers are furious that the party opposite left schools literally crumbling. We invested, Mr. Speaker, £20 billion to rebuild around 800 schools, and our aim is all schools and colleges in England that aren't being fully or substantially rebuilt to be rack-free by the end of the Parliament, and I'll make sure a Minister meets with her to discuss this.
I hope, yeah, that I generally mean this. Like 16 months is a long time. I really hope they get this sorted. Not just the rack, but actually in buildings that are suitable for their education, and not just still in temporary buildings, because it's really disruptive yet to children in their classrooms.
Morrison.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
teachers as
Speaker.
well.
I visited Stepping Hill Hospital in my constituency, where I met the incredible team there, but they are working in some of the worst conditions. The staff there showed me the wards where sewage is coming up onto the floors through the drains, and they showed me the ceilings where water is dripping down out onto vital equipment. The hospital itself has a £130 million repair bill, and the Prime Minister is the man that can change this. So will he meet with me, the member for Hazel Grove and the member for Stockport constituency, so we can talk to him about this issue, get some investment in, and then get the hospital that my constituents deserve?
Prime Minister.
Well, I thank him for raising this, and he knows we inherited a terrible situation with waiting lists, performance targets missed, and hospitals like Stepping Hill left to crumble. They should be absolutely ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, on this one, the Conservatives need to shut the fuck up, in all seriousness.
I'm pleased the new outpatients building is open, and because of our decisions, the local trust will receive £75 million in capital funding. Progress is being made. His local trust has seen waiting lists fall by almost 3,000. The number of waits over a year is down by 67%. I will make sure he gets the meeting that he wants to discuss the details further.
That's good. At least he'll get the meeting. At least I hope that gets sorted as soon as possible for him and his constituents.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If reports are correct, Elon Musk has climbed down today under pressure from this government. And let's be clear, stripping women naked without consent in real life or online is abuse. But we don't know whether to trust what X is saying today, and this isn't just happening on X. So will the Prime Minister join me and men and women across this House and our nation to say to any app and to any AI company that we will not tolerate and we will enforce any abuse of men, women or children in this country?
Well, that's certainly fascinating. I'll have to have a look at that to see what climb down they've had. If someone can tell me in the chat, it'd be greatly appreciated. I hope that they are Elon Musk is taking action to do it, because obviously there's been growing anger, not just from here but across Europe and many countries, and it was he had to back down on it, and I generally did think he was going to back down. Hopefully it is a backing down that I expect, that they actually take away the imagery there on it. Like, I personally didn't want X to be banned, but at the same time, of course, if it meant having to protect women, children, men, women and children, obviously, from indecent images being shown on X, then that is a price worth paying.
Can I thank her for raising this? The actions of Grok and X are disgusting and they're shameful. And frankly, the decision to then turn this into a premium service is horrific. And we're absolutely determined to take action here. We've made it clear that X has to act, and if not, Ofcom has our full backing and will introduce and are introducing legislation. Mr. Speaker, to update the House, I have been informed this morning that X is acting to ensure full compliance with UK law. If so, that is welcome, but we're not going to back down. They must act. We will take the necessary measures. We will strengthen existing laws and prepare for legislation if it needs to go further. And Ofcom will continue its independent investigation.
Now, obviously, I don't know what that means. Like, what that means in terms of people in the UK using Grok. What does that mean in terms of... Because obviously, it's not just about users from the UK. There's users all over the globe. So how are you going to stop people from seeing those images, or people doing those images on Grok? So it's not just a UK thing, it's a global thing, because of the platform. So the question is how are they going to how he's going to do that? That's the real question that I have there. AI girlfriend ads are getting pushed on YouTube again today, and it had it 4 times and blocked 4 times. I hate seeing that stuff. That's really bad for men, you know, really bad for men out there.
As someone with a personal experience of AI-generated images, the recent AI images shared on X, particularly those of children, sickens me. Yet, the leader of Reform continues to defend Elon Musk. Anyone who defends platforms linked to sexual exploitation of children forfeits any right to give lectures about protecting women and girls. What will the Prime Minister do to stop any political party from putting tech billionaires ahead of protecting our children?
Well said.
Can I thank her for raising this? And it's astonishing that Reform defend Musk on this issue. It is complete. I said the images are disgusting. Their position is disgusting on this. This is weaponizing images.
I should just point out the context. It's really, like, I don't want to say this, guys, but I'm not going to bullshit you guys. I'm going to be flat out honest here. Nigel Farage said in interviews that he is against the banning of X. He has not said that he supports the indecent images of women and girls and the AI imagery. He does not support that. He has stated that, okay? I'm not defending Farage. I'm just telling you what he said, okay? All right? I just want to make that position clear. I'm not defending for Reform or Farage in any way, shape or form. They are against the sharing of these images, and that they've stated... And it's really important. This is important context here. They stated that they want X needs to do more about it. That's what they've stated. I'm just pointing out the facts and the context there, okay?
Of women and children that should never be made. And that's why we're acting. Reform refused to do anything about it. But more than that, the point she raises, they would scrap the Online Safety Act that stops children accessing content like pornography, suicide, self-harm and eating disorders. They're an absolute disgrace and know nothing about protecting children.
That's true.
Can I just say, we're only on question 18. If we don't want to get MPs in, please, you're going to have to work with me. Kevin Bonavent.
Many of my constituents and Stevens were appalled to hear Reform MPs oppose the principle of deploying British troops to maintain a peace in Ukraine. Our brilliant armed forces have defended democracy in Europe across a generation, so it is shameful that the leader of reform opposes that today. That is not leadership, it is surrender. Does the Prime Minister agree that Labour governments always have and always will defend British interests, not those of Russian dictators or oligarchs?
I think it's important context is that we don't have all the full information of how many troops would be stationed in Russia, in Ukraine, if there is a peace secured, how many troops there are. I think there is obviously rightfully concerns about the choices of using troops there. I obviously, I will say that there are. I do understand the concerns around it. This is something I do understand people's concerns about this, but this is not just about UK's interests. This is about Europe's security as well, European security. It's not just about UK security. It's about European security, which is the position that I think is more aligned with. And it will also improve our relationship even further with Europe by doing this as well. And remember, it's not just British troops, it's French troops are also looking at being deployed in this situation as well. And it's all about whatabouterism at the moment, because obviously, as of right now, the conflict is still taking place. So when we get to that point, if we get to that point, it's still we don't know, then obviously that's a situation that will escalate. But I do understand the point of why some people don't want British troops there. I can get that point, but I'm looking at it not just from a UK point of view, I'm looking at it from a European strategic point of view there as well. And Unquiet Badger, you're absolutely right to say Farage only says what he is necessary to appease his voters, and no care otherwise. Yeah, you're absolutely right in saying that. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not defending Farage, I'm not defending reform at all in any way, shape or form, but I just wanted to add that context of what they have said on the position there. On that, you're absolutely right to make that very clear on that. There, because obviously at the end of the day, they will change their position at a whim. They've lied all the time. They keep doing U-turns on policies and whatnot. That has not changed any way, shape, or form about them there. So yeah, that is a very important point to make as well.
Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, this is a question of values and freedom.
Some dumbass in Twitch chat says this has nothing to do with protecting children, but they keep using the word children over and over again on people's emotions. This is about digital ID. It's going to be put on adults. Obviously, Todd, you've not been paying attention on from Twitch chat, so let me remind you that indecent images of women and children are being shown on X of people. So obviously you don't seem to have an issue. Obviously, you're more concerned about free speech. The indecent images than the indecent images of women and children and so forth. There's something obviously wrong with you. So that's just not, this is not about free speech or suppressing free speech. This is about protecting women and children and people of indecent images here. Like, I don't know what more logic you need to put there, really, honestly.
And I'm proud of the British workers in his constituency, in fact, supporting our Ukrainian allies. Ukrainian soldiers are defending European values on the front line every day. And, Mr. Speaker, in the event of a ceasefire, multinational force will carry out defence and deterrence operations and conduct training, planning, recovery and regeneration of Ukrainian forces. But this week, the leader of Reform said Russia had a casus belli. That means a justification for war in invading Ukraine. A Putin apologist using Russia's talking points.
Lewis Cocking.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The world is becoming more dangerous every single day, and the Ministry of Defence has said it needs an extra £28 billion to keep us safe. Well, I know where the Prime Minister can find it. Stop this nonsense Chagos Island surrender policy and spend that money on protecting the United Kingdom. Will the Prime Minister commit to that, or will he continue to put the interests of foreign governments and countries above our own?
Diego Garcia is a vital military base with important capabilities of our own. It's integral to our security. Our decision was welcomed by our allies, the Five Eyes, India and the United States. It was opposed by our enemies, including Russia. Now we can add the Tories to that list and reform to that list. The Tories following reform, reform following Putin.
Look, there are still questions about the Chagos Islands deal that people have about it. Obviously, the Diego Garcia deal, the lease is supposed to be for 99 years. There are still many questions about it. I think it's been rejected quite a few times by the Lords as well on that, so that it hasn't anywhere near passed in the House. So there are still issues that needs to be raised with regards to that. There has the Sprog spoken yet? No, but Richard Tice has been standing up a few times, so we might hear from him there. Unquiet Badger says all media, social, printed, etc. needs reforming. Too much misinformation and nastiness is allowed to seep out into the public's mind. Nothing about free speech in reforming that. No, yeah, there does need to. There is you are right in saying there is far too much misinformation out there and not enough tackling that kind of stuff. There more needs to be done when it comes to that kind of information. Indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to offer my condolences to the families of the 4 people who died in the road traffic accident which occurred over the weekend in my constituency.
Terrible.
Mr. Speaker, families in Bolton South and Walkden are already benefiting from this Labour government's action on free school meals, free breakfast clubs, 30 hours funded childcare, scrapping of the 2-child limit, taking nearly 500,000 children out of poverty.
Again, like the free breakfast club thing is all well and good, but that doesn't mean that children in poverty are still getting 3 meals a day. Some of them are still only getting 2 meals a day. It's very important context to add.
But in Bolton South and Walkden and across the country, there is a chronic shortage of social housing and genuine affordable homes. Will the Prime Minister now show the same ambition on housing and commit to a major expansion of social housing?
We need more social housing, not just build 1.5 million new homes by the end of this Parliament. Yeah, it needs to be social housing. The problem is getting the investment into it. And a lot of these private developers, they don't want to build the kind of homes that are suitable for social housing. They want to build the kind of homes for much more wealthier people.
Prime Minister.
Can I just say that my thoughts, and I think the thoughts of the whole House, will be with all those affected by the terrible road traffic accident in her constituency.
Can I just say to Todd, as he runs away in the chat, your first message saying this has nothing to do with protecting children tells me everything I need to know about you and your thoughts there. Saying this has nothing to do with protecting children tells me everything you need to know about your kind of mindset here. It's always been about protecting. This is about protecting children, protecting women from indecent images. I don't know what logic you need to understand here. And yeah, you are some dumbass on Twitch chat. You know why? Yeah, because that's the first thing that crossed your mind. Rather than saying hello or being polite or anything on the Twitch chat, that's your first thing you say is this has nothing to do with protecting children. So yeah, you are a dumbass for making that comment on Twitch. So maybe you should think about what you say on a random live stream before entering in the first place. So yeah, do yourself a favour and go somewhere else, if your first thought is not about protecting children. I mean, that tells me everything I need to know about you as a person.
Over the weekend, and our thoughts with all of those so awfully impacted. On her question, we are determined to restore the dream of home ownership. That's why there's been £39 billion of investment to deliver the biggest boost in social and affordable housing in a generation. Through planning reforms, the New Homes Accelerator and New Towns, we're determined to deliver the homes that people need.
Yeah, they say that, but whether they're going to do it is another thing. Kevin, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Says the Chagos Islands and their land was taken off them to accommodate the UK base there. This is unusual imperialism. You're absolutely correct. I'm not disputing that in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, I do think that the UK should be more compromise should be made there as well. All this talk about the money, look, the UK needs to own up to its past mistakes, and this is another one of them there. It is imperialism there. I will say, obviously, in the deal, like 99-year lease, obviously, it's not ideal for them. I get that. But at the same time, it's like a clock ticking down at some point. I mean, I get why people are against the deal as well. I just want some normality given to the people of those islands that it rightfully belongs to.
Not blue, Kevin.
It goes some way, but not enough.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I welcome the Prime Minister's commitment to the violence against women and girls strategy, but I and many have concerns about stigmatising young boys, men and masculinity as inherently toxic, especially when suicide is the #1 killer for young men. So is it about time that we have a minister for men and boys? Because this is about women and men, not women or men.
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for his support on what we're doing on violence against women and girls? Can I also agree with him that this isn't about women or men or boys or girls, it's about both. And that's why I was very pleased to bring forward our men's health strategy, one of the first of its sort, to deal with the challenges that young men in particular, in my view, have growing up, particularly with social media, but also to go further on the question of suicide. And I know that that's something that the whole House is prepared to work together on, and quite right too.
Caroline Harris.
I think he made a great point, the Conservative there, that more needs to be done to speak out for men there. A lot of young men are sadly taking their lives over what's happening as well. And yeah, more needs to be done there. It's about everyone, yeah. It is about everyone, of course.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As trade envoy to New Zealand, last year I visited Eden Park in Auckland to hear their exciting plans to bring the Edinburgh tattoo to New Zealand. Well, next month that plan becomes a reality, and one of Scotland and the UK's greatest military displays will be taking place in Auckland. This spectacular event is testament to the exciting and successful trading relationship between the UK and New Zealand. Will the Prime Minister join me in congratulating and thanking everyone who's made this a reality?
Can I thank her for raising that, because the Royal Edinburgh military tattoo is absolutely brilliant, as anybody who's seen it will attest, and I'm so pleased that it's heading to New Zealand, and I think it's another example of Scotland's unique contribution to our international image, our culture and tourism, and I think we all wish them the very best of luck in their performance, and I know it'll be very well received.
Timothy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The police fabricated intelligence to get Israelis banned from Villa Park, as demanded by Islamists. It's not an isolated case. Forces cut deals with dodgy mosques and refuse to arrest preachers who incite violence. The CPS uses the Public Order Act as an Islamic blasphemy law. In prison, governors do deals with Islamists to maintain order. And we all know about the rape gangs. So will the Prime Minister launch a review of the corruption of our criminal justice system by Islamists and the politics of communalism?
Okay, so let me just start by saying I am not aware of this Islamic influence sort of thing. I'm not going to comment on that because I don't have enough information on it. What I will comment on is the Maccabi Tel Aviv football game that fans were not allowed to attend to in Birmingham. I've said this before and I've said this again. I don't know if this is related to it, but I will say obviously with regards to the Maccabi Tel Aviv Aston Villa game that was supposed to take place in Birmingham, and it did go ahead, but the fans were not allowed to attend it. This was a decision made by the football club, not by the police, not by the UK government, not by any particular minister, but they made the decision, the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, because of the fact that Birmingham is a very Muslim majority area. It made logical sense because their fans have a tendency to cause disruption and riot, and they've done that in Amsterdam. In Amsterdam in the past. We know that they've caused that there, and no doubt there would have been violence, there would have been property damage, there would have been potentially even fatalities if fans were allowed to attend that game. And they're not fans, a lot of them are hooligans. There are some good fans within Maccabi Tel Aviv, but a lot of them are hooligans and violence and thugs, right? And consistently, over and over and over again, they have been bashing the police over what's happened on this here. And I want to make this very, very clear. If it wasn't for the football club and give Maccabi Tel Aviv the credit where it's due. If they hadn't pulled those fans out, they would have came and there would have been harm, there would have been property damage, and it would have left a terrible mark in the Birmingham community there. And I'm so grateful that football club saw what what was going to happen and decided to pull that and take that situation out of both the government's hands and the police hands there. I can't stress how important that decision was. It was such an important decision. But there's always going to be, you have these Israeli arse kissers from both Conservatives and Labour who are doing anything and everything to try and justify that these fans should be allowed to come to the UK, come to Birmingham to cause that chaos. It's absolutely insane. All to appease their Israeli masters. And I fucking hate it.
Prime Minister. Well, I disagreed, as he knows, with the decision of the West Midlands Police, and the Home Secretary will be making a statement in relation to it today. Mr. Speaker, the Home Secretary used to have power to remove Chief Constables. That power was stripped by the 2011 Police Reform Act. The honourable member knows who was making decisions in the Home Office at the time. It was him, working for Theresa May, that stripped that power away.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and a belated Happy New Year. But for the 4.8 million leaseholders across England, it's not a Happy New Year. They're going to be receiving large bills in a matter of weeks. They've been waiting patiently for us as a new government, a government that said we were going to deliver that change, to bring forward the legislation on leasehold and common hold. So I want to ask the Prime Minister, when will we see that legislation so that we can put those leaseholders out of their misery?
Well, can I thank her for raising this really important issue, and we are bringing forward proposals very shortly now.
No date whatsoever, guys. No date.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 35,000 children, including my constituent Clover, live with uncontrolled, life-threatening epilepsy. Those who can afford it are already benefiting from prescribed medical cannabis, yet families face endless delays, confused trials, and a Home Office process designed for criminal misuse, not healthcare. Will the Prime Minister meet with me and affected families to move paediatric medical cannabis out of Home Office control, create a pathway for proper trials and NHS access, and ensure that all children with life-threatening epilepsy get the care they deserve, regardless of their family circumstances?
Should do.
Can I thank you for raising the case of Clover? NHS England and the National Institute of Health and Care Research recently agreed funding for 2 world-first clinical trials relating to the use of cannabis-based products. This could help see medicines more routinely available in the NHS, and I'll make sure that she gets the meeting that she wants with the relevant minister to discuss what else we're doing.
They should be acting on this as soon as possible. It's like, I hate the bureaucracy that people have to go through to get the things that they need. There should not be so much bureaucracy for some people, all because they're paranoid about people taking advantage of the system. There's always going to be people taking advantage of systems in some way, shape or form, but there shouldn't be so much bureaucracy for people to get what they need.
Helena Donovan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The people I represent are fed up with Southern Water, from sewage to broken pipes and water outages, even on Christmas Day. In November, millions of plastic beads washed up on our beaches, and we discovered they'd come from a Southern Water treatment plant. I'm now campaigning for water companies to stop using this outdated plastic bead method and bin the beads. We're really concerned about the impact on wildlife, and we have a massive clean-up operation on our hands. Over 5,000 people have already supported my campaign with Sussex Wildlife Trust. Will the Prime Minister join me in sharing his horror at this dereliction of duty from Southern Water, and calling on them to face the full force of the law for this terrible pollution incident?
Well said.
Can I credit her with helping expose this scandal and working with her and everyone in her community, volunteering to clean up the beaches? That is the very best of who we are. But people are right to be...
But they hit the but I just want to cut this off here, guys. I'm sorry, but I just want to point this out there. Yes, it's great that they stepped in, yeah, but they shouldn't have to volunteer their time to clean up mess that Southern Water made. And I think that's a really important context there.
Furious that for far too long water companies were allowed to get away with polluting our seas and beaches. The Environment Agency are leading a full investigation, but we are more generally ending unfair bonuses for polluting water bosses, abolishing Ofwat and introducing tougher penalties, holding companies to account.
Then a message ejected.
Mr. Speaker. Ahead of the forthcoming consultation on local government reorganisation, last month Huntingdonshire District Council voted for option E, a Huntingdonshire Unitary Council. This was a cross-party view, and the Prime Minister's own Labour councillors voted in favour of it. There is a suspicion locally that the government favours option D, proposed by the Labour Eastern Regional Office, which would see Huntingdonshire and my constituency split in two and combined with Peterborough. Can the Prime Minister offer assurances to my constituents and those across Huntingdonshire that the decision isn't already a done deal and that the democratic will of Huntingdonshire District Council won't be overridden to satisfy an unelected Labour regional office?
Prime Minister.
There are no done deals here. We're going through the proper process.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The staff at West Herts Teaching Hospitals Trust, which operates Watford General in my constituency, have been very busy bees. They have recently won Trust of the Year and Performance Recovery at the 2025 Health Service Journal Awards. Will the Prime Minister join me in congratulating the amazing team at Watford General and thank them for all the hard work that they have done to achieve this admirable accolade? Imagine what further achievements that they will make when they have their new hospital and new facilities.
I will join him and thank the staff in his hospital, but also the NHS staff across the country who worked so hard over Christmas and New Year, which is notoriously a difficult time.
That completes Prime Minister's questions. Let the front bench.
Oh, that's it. Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't expecting to hear that there, because he normally says final question, but I guess he already made his mind up. Well, guys, we've finished. Thank you, Viper Scott, for clearing those messages. Yeah, I mean, like, just quickly on that guy in the Twitch chat, like if your first message is, you know, this isn't about children, like, kind of speaks a lot about you as a person. Like, it really was. I had to kind of just get that out of my chest because, you know, I mean, he claimed he just got there and all that kind of stuff. Well, you know, maybe you should just wait and listen a couple minutes before making assumptions, or maybe just say hello or something, you know, like a normal person would, you know. But hey ho, everyone is different, I suppose. Thanks for that, Viper Scott. I thought it was very interesting, Prime Minister's questions. Very good, some back and forth between Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch there. I think she threw a few decent punches there. The whole U-turn stuff is definitely turning on its head there. Very interested to hear more about what X and Elon Musk are going to be doing there with regards to the Grok and what it's going to be doing there. We'll have to see if I can get more information on that tonight for you guys as well. I think Ed Davies' questions were, his questions were very good as well. About obviously what's happening with regards to NHS and our corridors still filling up with people, increasing, not decreasing, increasing still there, and obviously a lot of jabbing at reform, because why would you not jab at reform when the opportunities are there? I thought there was some very good. I thought this was a much better PMQs than last week's one. I will say that for sure. So, guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who came along. Thank you for those who were there at the start from the Good Morning Show to Prime Minister's questions. I'm going to go and have lunch because I'm starving. I'm sure some of you guys have been having lunch while watching this, but I really appreciate it. I'll be back live tonight at 8 o'clock. If you guys can join me for Reganelite's watch along, it'd be greatly appreciated. And of course, guys, if you want to keep in touch with me, you can also check out the free Discord. That's Discord community. You can also check out all links for social medias in the chat as well. On your way out, if you can for me, please hit that like button, share this across social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and do check out Rumble and Patreon. There's more content just dropped today on both those platforms for free as well. There's also paid content as well for Patreon members, for paid Patreon members on there as well, guys. And appreciate you guys giving your time for me as always. I really, really do. So enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you guys are doing. Take care of yourselves as always. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.